My collection first began in 2014 when I happened to find the remains of a rat in my neighborhood, so I brought the skeleton home and I left it in some bleach. My mom was very supportive and she really didn't mind as long as I wore some gloves and then washed my hands afterwards. After a few days of soaking, the bones came out white like a museum specimen and I put them in a display. Since then, I've continued to collect bones as I find their remains in my neighborhood. Hi, my name is Amireh Rezaei-Kamalabad and I collect bones. I've always been interested in natural history museums, scientific research collections, and taxidermy, so to explore these interests, I volunteer at the Harvard Museum of Natural History. I've met with a zoo archaeologist to learn about her profession, and I've even visited a taxidermist to see his studio. Essentially, I'm trying to learn the techniques that would be used by museum professionals to clean bones, but I'm also figuring out the DIY version of the process. Usually when I find an animal's remains, it's just the skeleton. Sometimes there's a little bit of meat attached to the bones or skin, and other times it's the entire animal. In this case, I'll soak the bones in water. It's a process called maceration, and it helps remove any meat or feathers or fur from the bones. Then the bones are soaked in hydrogen peroxide, which helps whiten the bones and remove oils from within them to give them a whiter appearance. Following this, the bones are just left out to dry. In my collection, I have many bits and pieces from different animal skeletons. I have the bones from a rat, an opossum, a goose, a pigeon, a seagull, and some other unidentified birds and animals. In my collection as well, I have some other specimens that I've prepared myself. I preserved a snake that I found in my neighborhood in a jar of alcohol, and the skins of birds I have framed because I was unable to taxidermy them. When I frame a bird's skin, I'm highlighting the beauty and detail of its feathers and showcasing the art within nature. In some ways, the process of cleaning bones can be a little gross, and some might even say it's morbid. But really, in our lives, we're surrounded by the remains of dead animals, especially in the foods we consume. And personally, I think that I feel more detached to the meat of an animal because when I eat it, it doesn't look like it comes from an animal. Whereas with the bones I collect, they very obviously look like part of an animal, and so I'm reminded more of its death. It leads me to have a stronger appreciation for the animal's life, and it reminds me that I share my neighborhood with more beings than just people.